First of all, regarding the author, I didn't know that he was German, that he was born, well, that he is 84 years old. And yeah, that's surprise. I thought that he was younger for some reason. And but leaving that aside, he he founded the economic global forum or something like that, that he mentions several times throughout the book. And yeah, I guess he has made some very interesting things. But he's an economist and he's an entrepreneur. Well, he's a businessman. And so I think that he may not be himself, perhaps a very a person that has made like breakthroughs in the in the industry of technology. But as he mentions, he has known, spoken, and all these things with people. But then again, he's not a person completely devoted to only this area. So I think that's one thing to consider. But yeah, and well, the book has basically three major parts, leaving aside the introduction, of course. And well, yeah, well, the three main parts that they are the fourth industrial revolution, the drivers, and the impact. And well, starting from the introduction, I thought that it would be like the first book, but now it's a little bit different. I mean, because it talks about about the technological development and these sorts of things that was heavily, well, that was consistently discussed in the first book. So, yeah, and another thing relevant to consider is that the author believes that everyone should be part of this historical revolution, and that he yeah, that he considers that everyone involved, we can reach deeper objectives and yeah, better things. And I think that's nice that he views it like that. I think that he's right in that part. Well, as many, yeah, because the more people doing this, it's the more, well, easier it would be to perform this thing. And regarding the yes, the first yeah, the first chapter, it yeah, it talks about the other industrial revolutions, the first one, the second, and this. He just mentions it very briefly, and but yeah, it gives an overview of how they changed the world and this thing, how we are evolving because of them, I guess. And and yeah, he mentions that this fourth industrial revolution will be very will change a lot of things, and I think he's right to after reading all the book. And yeah, the progress of technology industry, he mentions it, and for good and for bad, because at the end is technology, it depends on the user, and we are very destructive, I think. And inequality, of course, because I think that another part of the book, he mentions that only 1% of the entire population are the richest ones. And I think that this 1% owns 1% of the entire money in the world. So it's astonishing. Oh yeah, drivers. He mentions three main areas. Yeah, the physical, the digital, and biological. That well, he mentions that these are the main three areas that are going to evolve or grow exponentially, I guess. And yeah, the physical covers autonomous vehicles, sensors, the artificial intelligence, drones, also 3D printing or even 4D printing that are shifting materials, difficult shapes, medical implants, new materials, and advanced robotics, new materials, stronger, evolving. The second one is digital. Talks about blockchain that we already saw in class, so it's nice to see how all the topics in the class are mixing, are evolving. So yeah, blockchain, trust, IoT, getting connected, well, everything, people, processes, and to deliver better and cheaper services. That makes our lives easier, but yeah. And the third one is biological. Yeah, share of for health data. I think that's a very concise topic because very personal data there. So yeah, genetic coding, exploring the human brain, 3D printing of the cell, uh, yeah, of tissues for body, bioprinting. And I think that it is here that mentions that we can modify our DNA and make even I don't know unspecified. Yeah, we can do unspecified, unspec- uh, we can make unspecific children with specific features that we decide. So I think it's interesting. And yeah, commercial forms of research. Oh yeah. Um, Commercial forms of research. Yeah, he has throughout the book a perspective that technology can be used to help us all and to benefit all of us. I think that he's a little bit naive, but it's a very good perspective, yeah. And commercial forms research. Yeah, I mean, because many of these ideas can be used violently. Every single one of them in the military or something like that. And yeah, I think that, and he listens also many and many parts. Well, yeah, like areas where he says that are going to be like the most um, important or relevant areas that are going to develop more quickly or more thoroughly. I think that's yeah, with more force. And yeah, the third part of the book is a little bit longer, and but it has very interesting points of view. But yeah, he talks about economics, about security. Um, well, first of all, uh, economics, and yeah, technology, as he mentions, productivity and the aging, that we are aging and the productivity is not growing as it should be growing because, well, there are many theories. But uh, and he mentions that productivity is perhaps not being well measured, and so that we are not getting enough data, or yeah, it's measured wrongly, and because yeah, and it has more um, it's more logical that this is uh, that this is happening like this because of the technological development, and yeah, marginal costs are practically zero. mm, and economic books have to be rewritten. I think that, well, he's an economist, so he clearly knows what he's talking about, and that he mentioned something like this is bigger words, I guess. And yeah, machines taking over human jobs, risks, and people need to feel safe. And I think he's right. Yeah, this, that, pandemic. Oh yeah, this thing of outsourcing offshore force us to work remotely or digitally. And I think that this is how people or businesses or yeah, people in power realize that we are very we can be very easily uh, well, we there can be a replacement very easily found. So yeah, and I think that it was accelerated because of pandemic and all the remote job. Also about the abilities of robots, artificial intelligence can surpass humans and do better things and cheaper. I think it's astonishing. Um, oh yeah, about it's about there can be a very more relevant gap between men and women in terms of their salary, race, rise of inequality, uh, because yeah, it mentions that women's jobs are could be replaced by machines and easier. So I think it's something to consider there. And yeah, I think that and yeah, it's interesting that creative jobs or jobs where a person has to be very sympathetic. Those jobs are safe, at least for now. So it's interesting. That's why I'm going to be more, yeah, to make tattoos instead of of practicing my career. So, well, that part. And yeah, he says that. Oh yeah, he mentions about on-demand economy and how people can like have their own businesses and internet and these sort of things. I mean, it has more freedom, but it doesn't have, I don't know, labor growth or social benefits, things like this, dental insurance or something like that in new sorts of jobs, like I don't know, this thing, Uber, that it's the most important company of taxis, and it doesn't own a single car throughout the entire world. So I think it's very interesting. Specialization can be increasing, and he mentions a lot of things that machines can replace us or something like that. But I think that, I mean, I study Kabbalah and these things, and it mentions that it will be how that, well, that a moment will come where we won't have to make any job or work at all, and perhaps this is how it's going to be to come, this new change that was foreseen, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And I think it's very interesting because it seems that it could take this path that we can, well, that machines will be doing everything, that we can just relax, because in reality we don't have to work. I mean, it's not necessary, I think, but, and yeah, money is just an invention. Yeah, and leaving that aside, and that is something that really astonishes me. It talks about a lot of urban innovations, and that society may change with social media, that this and that, the use of that data of these people. There are major topics that I would like to discuss, but I mean, there is few time. Oh my god. And well, yeah, inequity that I was talking about, new ways to kill us, battleground. Yeah, that he mentions that the brain will be the future battleground, and no longer within humans. But I think that this is something I do as the guy that created the machine gun. I think that we are obtaining more innovative and destructive ways to kill one another. Fear of change. Oh yeah, worsening existing tensions of radical groups. And this is something that bothers me, and I discussed it in the previous book. Well, I mentioned in the previous book that he talks about terrorism and things like that, where yeah, what governments have made more terrible things than them. I think what has me-centered community. Um, this also about the disease of the because of the social media and things like that. People interconnected in many ways. A lot of things that he mentions, but several. And I think that we can do a video this long only in these parts that he covers. I think it was cyber security or something like that. Security, people, community, these things. Wow, yeah. The conditions of the middle class are getting worse. I think that's interesting too. Proclamation, yeah. Oh, yeah. For some reason that is that yeah, there are new algorithms that predict what we are going to watch or buy. And he says something like that. How can we make sure that we are deciding and not them? Basically, it's something like that. But I mean, the most um, a lot of the times we are not really deciding for ourselves, but we are deciding from a perspective, well, from a point where social values um, are that were imposed by our fathers, by how they rose us. I think that yeah, we are not really deciding. We have imposed values, even by society, that tell us how to dress, uh, how to eat, for example, and these things. So I don't think that we really have a very um, individuality or ay, se me fue la palabra. I don't recall the name in English. I think it was in Spanish. It's something like no in Spanish. But this feature of deciding for ourselves, and so what difference does it make that an algorithm is making those decisions? So yeah, sadly, it's like that. Perfect jobs, yeah, familiar, appreciated bad humans. Oh yeah, he talks about jobs and that we can have more freedom, but yeah. Social media is an interruption, ways to divide attention, this, that. Also the last part, I don't know, way forward, I think it's called that section. He mentions about to do well, certain types of emotion, well, of intelligences and things like that. I'm not going to mention them, but I think it's very interesting, and I think that or he knows some perspective of psychology, or he is also at the masoneria, la masoneria, and things like that, or things like that, because it talks about the body, the soul, emotions. I mean, well, the entire book is incredibly well, talks about so many areas and areas of opportunity, and how can we make things better. And yeah, it's like an intense and multidisciplinary point of view, I think. So yeah, I think that would be all. Yeah, yeah, I think that would be all. Thanks for watching. Till next time.